AITA for telling my wife to stop treating her sister so badly after her sister confessed to having feelings for me. My wife and I have been married for 10 years and together for 12. We have 2 children. My SIL, Jenna, is a single mom as her husband sadly passed away 7 years ago. When Jenna's husband passed away, my wife and I provided support for Jenna and her daughter, because it was a really traumatic time for them. Over the years, my wife and I spent a lot of time over at Jenna's house, and she would come over to our house. I also developed a really strong bond with my niece. My wife, my children, and I had a really strong connection with Jenna and her daughter, and we were a really tight-knit group. That was until a few months ago when Jenna confessed something to both me and my wife. We were all drunk and having a good time, and Jenna kind of just blurted out that she developed feelings for me. I was shocked, and Jenna just burst out in tears and said a lot of things like how she was really grateful I was a father figure to her daughter. I don't really remember too much from that night, except that my wife kicked Jenna out of our house after that. My wife and I had a talk about it the next day, and my wife was obviously not happy at all. She said she had suspected this for years, the way Jenna was acting around me, and she couldn't believe how Jenna betrayed her like that. My wife said we would cut off all contact with Jenna, and I did accept it. My wife told me to block Jenna, which I did. However, I feel like this whole arrangement has been a bit harsh, especially towards my niece. My niece has been texting me a lot, and I've showed my wife the texts, telling her it was unfair that we were punishing our niece too. My wife told me it was a consequence of Jenna's actions. However, last night, when my niece sent a really long and sad text about she and her mom were feeling, I felt really bad and had a talk about it with my wife. I told my wife to stop treating Jenna and her daughter so badly, especially after they both went through a traumatic time. I told my wife it was wrong what Jenna did, but at least have some sympathy. I told my wife to imagine if we were in Jenna's shoes, and then one night, tragically lost me. That would scar her for her entire lifetime. However, my wife got really sad after I said that and just broke down in tears. She didn't say anything except that she loved me, and she didn't speak to me the rest of the night. I do feel guilty about what I said. I didn't intend to make my wife feel like this. Was I the age? Edit. My wife is 100% my priority. It's just that I feel bad for Jenna and her daughter after what they went through. I don't have any romantic feelings for Jenna. I consider her like my sister, so I was shocked with her confession. But she was not in the right frame of mind when she made that confession, and she was also drunk. And it sucks that we're now no contact because we did develop a really close bond, like a brother-sister bond. But I understand why my wife wants us to distance from Jenna because what Jenna did was not okay. I just don't think we should treat her and her daughter like this, like they're throwaways. Update. Hey everyone, just a quick update. My wife and I have come to an agreement of sorts. I promised my wife and gave my word that I would be no contact with Jenna for life. I understand that I have to prioritize my wife and make her feel secure, and for that, I will have to cut off all contact with Jenna. However, per my request, my wife agreed to be in touch with Jenna. I told my wife Jenna had already lost her husband, and it would be really hard for her if she lost her sister too, someone she loved dearly. I asked my wife to just give Jenna a chance to apologize, and that they can hopefully regain their close bond and friendship. My wife did agree to this request, and that made me very happy. As for our niece, my wife and I agreed that she could come over to our house to hang out, because it wasn't fair on her to not remain in touch with her aunt and uncle, someone she was very close with. That's probably my final update. Thanks everyone for the advice.